We thought it would just be a stupid dare, a way to prove we weren't scared. There were 5 of us that night, friends since school, always daring each other to go one step further. So when someone suggested staying overnight in the old St. Mary's Hospital, we all laughed, pretended to be brave, and said yes. St. Mary's had been shut down for years. People said it was haunted. Some said a fire forced it to close. Others swore it was because patients started disappearing. We didn't believe any of it. To us, it was just a rotting building on the edge of town. But the second we pushed open the rusted doors, we knew we had made a mistake. The air inside was heavy, stale, filled with the smell of mold and chemicals that never faded. Our flashlights cut through thick dust, and every sound echoed too long, like the building itself was breathing. We set up in what used to be the waiting room, broken chairs, shattered glass, faded posters about hand-washing still clinging to the walls. We laughed, joked, tried to act normal, but none of us wanted to admit how tense we already felt. That's when the first noise came, a faint metallic clang, somewhere deep in the hospital. We froze, then laughed it off. Probably an old pipe or a piece of ceiling falling. At least, that's what we told ourselves. Hours passed. We dared each other to wander the halls, and one by one we did. The further we went, the worse it felt. Wheelchairs rusting in corners, gurneys tipped on their sides, patient files scattered across the floor. In one room, a heart monitor still stood by a bed, its screen cracked, but its wires hanging loose like veins. We joked about ghosts, but we never stayed in those rooms long. The silence pressed too hard against our ears. Around 2 a.m., everything changed. We were sitting in a circle in the waiting room, telling each other ghost stories when we heard it again. Footsteps, not ours. They echoed down the hallway, slow, deliberate. We looked at each other, every face pale. Probably another group of idiots, one of us whispered. But the truth was, we all knew no one else came here. The footsteps grew louder, then stopped just outside the waiting room. We shined our flashlights toward the doorway. Empty. "Hello?" someone called out. His voice cracked. The reply came seconds later, a long, drawn-out breath, right behind us. We spun around. No one was there. That's when the lights of our flashlights flickered. One by one, they dimmed and then flared back on. And in that brief flicker, we all saw it. A figure, tall, thin, standing at the end of the hallway, its head tilted too far to one side, watching. We screamed. The figure didn't move, didn't step closer. It just stood there, as if waiting. We grabbed our bags, ready to leave, but when we reached the doors, they wouldn't budge. Rusted shut. That's when we heard the wheel. The sound of a wheelchair rolling slowly down the hall, squeaking, echoing, getting closer. One of us shouted that it was just wind, but the sound didn't stop. It turned the corner, and there, pushing itself forward, was an empty wheelchair, rolling toward us. We backed away, but then, out of the dark, another sound joined, a faint beeping, like a heart monitor. But it was steady, alive. The sound came from deeper inside, from the surgical wing. We swore we wouldn't split up, but panic does strange things. Half of us ran back to the waiting room. The others tried to find another exit. That's when the hospital came alive. Doors slammed shut on their own. Gurneys rolled across halls without anyone pushing them. Somewhere above us, a voice, faint, rasping, called out, "Stay!" We regrouped near the nurse's station. That's when we noticed something terrifying. The dust on the counter. It had handprints in it. Fresh ones, long, thin, dragging across like something had just pulled itself along. One of us wanted to leave everything behind and smash a window. But before we could move, the intercom above us crackled. It was dead, unplugged. And yet, code blue, room 304. We looked at each other. None of us spoke, but our eyes all drifted down the hall toward the surgical wing. We didn't want to go. Every instinct screamed to run, but something pulled us. We moved together, flashlights shaking, footsteps echoing louder than they should have. We found room 304. The door was half open. Inside, a single bed, the sheets yellowed, torn, and the monitor beside it, dead, cracked, suddenly flickered to life. Beep, beep, beep. The heart monitor screamed to life, flatlined, then beeped again. The bed creaked. Something was in it. We shined our lights, and the sheets rose, as if something invisible was sitting up. We ran. No hesitation this time. We sprinted through halls, not caring about the doors slamming or the shadows stretching too long. We smashed at a side window with a broken chair until the glass gave way. We didn't stop running until we were blocks away.